she started doing, poetry. She had been writing poetry and performing poetry, and she wrote a poem, Dear America, and it was like letting folks have it. Shocked me. I didn't know it was out. People was like, your daughter is just doing. I was like, well, what did she do? She did it right under the roof, and so it's affecting folks, and she's normally kind of quiet and to herself in a lot of ways. So when you start bringing folk out like that, things are changing, and she is challenging her white friends.
Yeah.
And people are starting to find out what a friend really is. All these jokes, I've seen countless articles by the token black friend who talk about things that they, kind of pushed aside and ignored just to kind of be part and still be in that group, that they're now having to speak up. So it's coming from all sides. I got a letter I went to a private school for 8 years in Baltimore, and they sent out a blast letter to everybody talking about for 400 years it's been wrong, and we took part in it, and we want to say to our black students, we are sorry. It was real heavy, but I don't know what you want me to say now. It's too much, too little, too late. I'm glad you said something, but what else you gonna do? What we gonna do now? Can you give me back that tuition for 8 years? Well, y'all was calling me that. How about that? Then I can listen a little bit. But I just said we just keep going. Bubba, with all that you've seen, you want to see progressions. I can imagine marching, through all that you marched through. All the stories that you told the last time that we were on, about having to come in the back door here, you wouldn't let you sing here, you couldn't stay here. That whole Green Book thing that was real, that you traveled through and lived through.
Yeah,
and it had to be a super high to have help elect the first black president.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, but then to turn around and you're feeling you're making headway, and then not 8 years goes by, and then here we are with the complete opposite. Yeah. It's almost like threw you right back down. Like Stevie Wonder, Rocket Love. You took me half a mile from heaven and dropped me back down this cold world. It was like, good Lord. Can you believe it? Two polar opposites.
That's happened throughout history.
Right.
Right after Reconstruction, versus Ferguson. Just right back where we were before emancipation. So there's always, seems like an equal and opposite reaction when we make a little progress. Someone's already there to pull the rug from underneath us.
Exactly.
I don't know, Chief. You teach me how to. I might have to go start learn how to arm myself. I'm down here down south now too. Shoot, let me go. They going up in people's houses, shooting people who sleep. They're coming and chasing people who who got tasers. They're putting knees on. I know it doesn't feel like it, but I gotta think that we're winning. As I said, when you see anybody in the throes of death, that's when they fight the hardest. And I think this is the last gasp for the white supremacy and all that kind of stuff. And this is their last fighting. They're throwing everything they got.
This is Custer's last stand.
Yeah, they're throwing.
We all know how that ended.
That's right. So that's the only thing I keep looking at. I say we gotta be. It doesn't feel like it, but I think we're winning and we're making the headway. And I think the momentum brought about by these things, as one man said, I couldn't understand, when you can't understand the death of an Emmett Till, what sense does that make? When you can't understand the death of a George Floyd, and what does that mean? And then it just came to me that some deaths aren't about the dying of one, but about the awakening of all.
Very good.
And I think that this is that's what this thing is with what we're going through now is, okay, y'all better wake up, as we said, right. back to Teddy and Harold Melvin, wake up everybody.
Everybody.
No more sleeping, make up everybody. Everybody's got to pull and all hands on deck at this point because, we can't go back. Can't go back.
Well, and one last comment from Phil. He said they're not going to punish their taskmasters. We have to understand this. These people, police and politicians, were groomed to do this. This is who they are. That was Phil's comment.
My man, Phil.
That's it.
That's good.
Very good.
Well, before we get out,
like your daughter, one thing that we have to do, and like I was saying in the beginning about, excuse me, Reverend Al, like your daughter, what we can do is try to keep the word out there, keep bringing it to the forefront, and keep them looking at what they're seeing now. For some of them, for the first time, are really seeing it.
That's right.
Now we have to keep that momentum going because it's embedded. It's embedded. They grew up. Donald Trump grew up in a house with his dad being a racist.
Right.
So what we expect from him? You know. So with what, like I said, with your daughter and with Reverend Sharpton and what all of the people and you, Sinbad, you and Michael and Ryan and all you guys, what you're doing is keeping that awareness in right up in their face and in their ears. So hopefully it'll get to their hearts and their souls to make a difference, because that's where it's going to come from. It's their problem. It ain't ours.
That's right.
We're victims. It's that they're the one that has the flu. And we can only give them the medicine by keep speaking to the situations like the way we are. So I applaud you, man. I applaud you, gentlemen, to helping to keep the word out there. And hopefully it'll land on some ears and some hearts and some souls that one or two white people may say, I'm not going to treat these people like that anymore. I don't care what the majority is doing, but I'm not going to treat them like this.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that we forgot to mention, Sinbad, and Terrence reminded me of this in the chat room, that this thing has gotten not only national attention, but internationally. There were protests overseas and so forth. And even the UN today held an emergency meeting on police brutality and racism. So the conversation has now reached international proportions. So as you were saying, Bubba, from the things that you have seen during your lifetime, and you have been all over the world and all over the United States, and you've seen service and respect and disrespect, you know, from being overseas and being treated a certain way, then coming back home and being treated a certain way. The conversation is happening, but what will be the actionable results? And that, I think that's what we're all waiting to see. You know, what good will come of this? Where is the silver lining in this storm? You know, how will we prevail? And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, folks, this has been good discussion. I mean, I hope we don't have another instance.
Absolutely.
But I want to we got to keep that momentum going. You know, Ryan, you keep folk awake and letting them know what's going on in Texas, and Bubba, thank you for you know, all the stuff that you withstood, you know, and went through, and still was able to smile and sing and do your thing, and do it with class, and you know, suffer through that stuff and just make it happen.
Thank you, man.
Thank you all for what you did, and all those others out there, Phil, and other folks out there who are listening, who've gone through this thing before, and who are in a position to kind of let us know when we're doing right, when we're doing wrong, or when we need to do more, and we need to pull back, or how we need to, you know, recalculate. But we can't stop. You can't stop, and you keep moving. You got this kind of momentum. You got young folks who are ready. You're right on the cusp of an election coming up. Pressure's got to keep moving. We got to keep pushing. So, Chief.
Yes, sir.
You keep me straight. I'm gonna keep asking you all these questions about these crazy ass police officers, and you're gonna have to keep straightening me out, because I'm trying to be nice. But
anytime, sir. Anytime.
Lose my mind up in here. my DMX on what?
Yeah.
That's right.
But we gotta let it go until next week. You know, folks, keep thinking about it and keep pushing. Stay safe. Put them damn masks on, people.
That's right. Cover your face.
Because there's still a virus out here. It's still some stuff going on.
That's right.
We still got to talk about that. We seem like we talk about that every week.
You know what we're going to do then, Bad? As we walk through these places, everybody we see without a mask on their face, we'll say,
just start clapping them.
Yep. Cover your face. Cover your face. Sit down. Come here. That's what we're going to do.
I think that'll work. That might work. They wouldn't feel it if they had a mask on.
Right. That's right.
That's right. That'll work. Shoot. But well, folks, we're gonna let it go. We want to thank Bubba Knight.
Yes, sir.
We want to thank Ryan Adams.
Yes, sir.
Phil, Phil, we just gonna make him an honorary co-host. Phil is just always on. You know, we got Phil, Gina. I hear her a lot. You all keep us going. And give us let us know some ideas of some things you want to talk about, some angles, let us know. Because we got it from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yes, sir.
We're all over.
International as well.
Thank you all, folks, for allowing us to give it to you once again. Straight, no chaser. Bye.
You've been listening to Straight No Chaser. So join us next week for more hot topics. And also, you can always catch us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, iHeartRadio.